Hello, this is Real World Audio, and today I'm going to give you a very valuable video, very valuable information, and this is something that as a beginner on your audio journey, you will have a lot of good use for that. And I'm going to talk about system progression and how we build our audio systems. And here in the US, the traditional path, or I would say now, it's not the traditional, but the current path that people take, the priority that everyone wants to have done. The first is power delivery. I just say PD, let's call it PD. And why? Because for some reason here in the United States, the fascination is with power. And when people are talking online about their audio equipment, and uh, and 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 here people in the US are reviewing gear, power delivery always comes first. And if an equipment is unable to uh, deliver power, basically to sound powerful, if the gear cannot do that, then it's not called as a serious amplifier. I just want everyone to know about it because many parts of the world feel very different about this issue, because power delivery is just one aspect out of many that is part of an audio chain. And and in most parts of the world, power delivery is not so important as in the United States, especially in Japan. Power delivery is one of the last criteria people want to have. There, the low-level detail and the ability to play quietly is top on the list. And here in the US, the ability of a system to play quietly is really not a criteria. Only very few among us think that it plays an important role in the system, and to be able to play quietly, it comes at the very end of our audio progression. So people realize after 10 or 20 years that maybe the ability to play music, to listen to music quietly at a very enjoyable level is probably the sweetest ability that your stereo system can have, because our ears, well, they cannot tolerate too much beating. And I have to share with you guys that if you stress power delivery at the very beginning of your audio journey, then you are setting up your ears for failure. Because in the beginning, the refinement of your system and the subtle ability is not there yet to enjoy your system at a lower level. And for entry level gear to have power delivery, you have to crank the volume up, and that means your ears are getting beaten up. So basically, people, this is the general trend, that you want powerful sound. How can you get that? You want loudspeakers which are high current loudspeaker. I just call them HC. So it means like low impedance, high excursion drivers. And to drive them to get that high power you need an amplifier that has high damping factor and is also a high current amplifier and has lots of watts. So basically, this is the stereotypical introductory system that people start their audio journey with nowadays. And it's pretty good, actually. You can have a nice system that has tremendous power today for a reasonable price. And what today's system is, entry-level audiophile system, is fundamentally different from a one that was like 20 years ago or 40, 50 years ago is that today's systems have power delivery at the introductory level. And in the older systems, going back a couple of decades, the power delivery comes only towards the end of your journey, when your system is nearing the completion of the refinement. It appears only towards the end. So now this trend has been flipped with the advances in technology, which I would not really call them advances, just changes and shift of focus, shift of priorities, and that's what we have. And after you have a system that is capable to deliver loads of power, then people will start to have the need for more refinement. And that you can have by upgrading your cabling, your interconnect, your speaker cable, and then finally power cord. So that's step 2, to get better clarity out of your system, better refinement. And when you start using cabling which is beyond the very basic cabling that you have, the really junk cabling, then you realize that your source needs upgrading. So that's when people start investing in a DAC, and they realize that, oh my god, really the world of more refined sound, transparency, imaging, all of these things that you have heard about are now available to you when you are getting higher quality sources. And when you have a higher quality source, now excuse me, now you start to realize what are the problems with your system. So part of it is that now you are in the loop, in the zone. Oops, sorry, that was Machi, the cat. So now you start fiddling around your cabling to improve it further. You start to buy different loudspeakers, different amplifiers, and go with higher and higher power. Maybe you started out with a 50 watt, now you go for 100 watt, 200 watt, 500 watt, and you are just upping the numbers, upping. And also you realize that your loudspeaker is not enough for you, and you invest in subwoofer, and then you invest in a pair of subwoofers, and then you progress towards a sub array, like 4 subwoofers. And as you see that when you are at this stage, it is now getting exponentially more expensive with every step, because we are just multiplying the number of gear in the chain. All of them require cabling as well, so that really ups the price. You decide that you need more clarity, more transparency, more detail. So basically each driver in your loudspeaker is now driven by a separate amplifier. You do multi-amping, and you also ditch the crossover in your loudspeaker, and you use an active crossover that also adds to the price of the system. So now we are starting to get into a very expensive loop, but you are getting better and better results. And what else? So now you start to realize that you already have power delivery, right? You have it pretty good. You have bass. You have tons of bass with your subarray. You have high frequency extension, because you have your super tweeter, maybe ultrasonic tweeter, everything, modern loudspeakers, even our bookshelves. Now it's easy that they extend like to 30 kilohertz or even higher. So we have like super highs, super lows, tons of powers, and now you start to realize, where is the mid-range? It's nowhere, it's totally missing. And this is when you realize that with solid state technology. So far you have been playing around with solid state amps. They can ace these things, and when people love solid state amps, that's why they love them, because plenty of power, plenty of bass quantity, lots of SPLs for high frequencies. But when you have been playing around with them for a decade or two, then you realize that, and then you start, especially when you start listening to unamplified live music a lot, then you start to notice that the mid-range has serious issues. And you try to fix it, and you cannot fix it when you are in this system. You can upgrade your DAC, you upgrade your streamer, you try a million power chords, everything, but the mid-range is still not there. And then you want to go to test out a tube amplifier, and when you throw it into this mix, then you realize that mid-range now checks out, but power delivery is gone, and bass is gone as well. And then people say that's because tubes suck. No, it's because tube amplification does not fit into this system. So basically, if you have gone down this road, this is where you will end, and you will not get to that refined mid-range. And this is where basically your journey ends. And when you are upgrading your system, you will be improving your power delivery, you will be improving bass, you will be improving high frequency energy, but you will never get mid-range. You will have a problem with low level SPL and low level resolution, and you will be pretty much forced to go the digital way, because analog does not sound good in this system. And the reason for that, because if your mid-range is not good, then analog will not sound good. So thank you for tuning in today. That was my message, that this is a very popular path and it works for a lot of things, and I hope that I have illuminated it a little bit, that what can you get when you follow this path, this avenue, what are the positives and what is the drawback. And if you want here to jump to the tubes, then this whole system is not going to work with it. So if you are at the point that you have not invested into all of these, and mid-range is your priority, to be able to play music quietly is your priority. If you listen to a lot of unamplified acoustic music, then this will not get you to the peak of where you can go, or where you want to be, or where you imagine yourself 20, 30 years from now. And I will show you guys that way as well, where you can get the ultimate mid-range. And there the path will be exact opposite. You will start from the mid-range, and then you tick the additional boxes, and you will end with a very different system and follow a very different road. And if you want to get there, that's the path you follow. If you want to get here, this is the path you follow. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day. Bye bye.